Welcome to EuroPCR 2023. My name is Marta Bande, and I have the pleasure of interviewing today Dr. Roxana Mehran from New York and Professor Emanuele Barbato from Rome. We're going to talk today about women in cardiology and how we can work together to achieve gender equity. A recent survey that was launched by Women as One indicated professional societies as the major driver as organization in achieving gender equity. Now, Emanuele, you're the current president of EAPCI, and I do know that you're very committed to creating a more equitable environment for women interventional cardiologists. Would you tell us now what are the actions that you have put in place to support not only women in cardiology, but specifically women in interventional cardiology?
Thank you very much, Marta. First of all, to have taken this great initiative. It's not that common that we have the chance to have such a forum of discussion to talk about this important topic. Well, first of all, we started from what is the unmet need. We soon realized that our association, EAPCI, which is the Association of the Interventional Cardiologists within Mother European Society of Cardiology, was highly underrepresented in terms of women in interventional cardiology. You can guess that we have only 16% of our members who are women and who are EAPCI members. That doesn't exactly mean that this reflects the true percentage of women interventional cardiologists. There might be some more who are just not EAPCI member. We cannot exclude this, but that tells us the extent of the problem. So that is the first step. Then what we did next was to establish as much as we could role models. You know, if a woman sees on the stage, in a committee, in a leadership position, another woman, well, perhaps she might start to think, I can make it, I can do it as good as she does. So what we try to do is to have an even representation of women and men in leadership position. Now, if you look at my term, both in the executive committee and in the board, we reached nearly 50-50 in terms of men and women as committee chair, as committee co-chair, and I have the pleasure in the executive committee to have my president-elect who's a woman, treasurer who's a woman, and the two PCR representatives who are women. Actually, they are in majority in the executive committee. Last but not least, in terms of training and education, we try to rigorously apply what the European Society of Cardiology is asking all our associations, which is give equal opportunity of training and education to women. So each time we have a call for an EAPCI grant, what we do, we just assign 50% of grant to men, 50% of grants to women.
That's fantastic, Emanuele. Wow.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yes. Roxana, so you are a leader in the field of interventional cardiology, a world-renowned interventional cardiologist, a researcher, and also a co-founder of Women as One. Now, based on your extensive experience, would you like to share with us some insights on what you think are the major drivers for this change in reaching gender equity?
I think the major driver is in the fact that when we have diversity, we all do better. I think that's the driver. And we all want to do better. And professional societies play a very, very important role in making sure that that kind of gender balance is accomplished, but that women are given opportunities very equal to men. And we also understand that the other major driver is in that when we know that women are in leadership positions, it drives and it gives a great opportunity for other women, as Emanuele said, to want to also be leaders. That the imposter syndrome goes away in terms of, oh, I'm not good enough, I will never be that. It's all men. That's what it was like for decades on end. And the time has changed. And I think now that we have expanded the reach this way, in terms of the number of women that are now on committees, on panels, as speakers. And that's the work that professional societies such as EAPCI has done. In fact, to almost to a level of majority leadership for women, which is unbelievable, and it shouldn't be expected. We now have to dig deep. Now we have to go this way. and not just look at women on the surface as a checkbox, but rather, who is qualified? Where's the talent? How do we promote that talent? How do we make sure that the talent invigorates other women to be driven and drawn to the field of interventional cardiology that's not necessarily friendly to families? And this then drives also the other younger, more talented men and women who may be driven away from our subspecialty, which is one of the most rewarding subspecialties in cardiology. And what we have to do now is to learn more about what is really happening for these women and how do we better understand where their incredible strengths are so we can show them off and help them with their weaknesses, because we all have both.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Roxana. Now, you know, I'm an interventional cardiologist, and now I'm working for Boston Scientific. Boston Scientific is truly committed in supporting the advancement of women cardiologists. Now, I would like to ask to both of you, what do you think is the role of industry in supporting the advancement of women in interventional cardiology? Emanuele.
Fundamental. It's a fundamental role. Why? Because there is no other discipline in cardiology like ours, like interventional cardiology, infiltrated, contaminated of innovation, technology, and all this wouldn't be possible without the strong support from industry. Big part of our education, big part of our innovation, it's thanks to what you can really push forward. So it all starts from the extent of involvement of women in your educational sessions, for example. If you give the message that you can select speakers, chairmen, moderators in your sessions in an even distribution, but talented, as Roxana said. We have to move away from the quote. No, you have to involve the talented women in the panel. That's the first step. The second step, allow me to say that, I would like to see more women in company like Boston, but not those visiting the cath labs. We have plenty of women visiting our cath labs. I want to see more women in leadership. When I come to discuss a research project, support to an educational initiative, I would like to see more women there as well, in those taking the decisions. That would be my wish.
Thank you, Emanuele. Roxana, your point of view.
Well, I mean, I think industry plays such a pivotal role. We already heard from Emanuele, and that private-public partnership that we have developed with industry as our partners, really, in promoting innovation, enhancing science, and delivering and implementing the science to the public is incredibly important. And without them, interventional cardiology would not be where it is today. So there's no question that our industry colleagues have been pivotal in moving this field forward. And they can also be pivotal to bring in their key opinion leaders that are more diverse. And they're often reaching out to men because most of those men are in leadership positions. But what they have learned, which is tremendous, is that as they bring in the women to their key opinion leader and advisory groups and advisory boards and give research funding to those women who are talented, who are really looking, they're also understanding that great work is being done. They're hearing new voices, new ideas, and in fact, enhancing and improving what we're doing. I want to underline one of the most important parts of how we can enhance human health. We need more women in cardiology. We need more women performing clinical trials and enrolling more women in studies. All of this will happen by having more women at the table. And industry plays a pivotal role. When you choose a principal investigator that's a woman, you don't need to pair her up with a man because you're afraid that they may not be able to perform. But I also would say it has to be the right person. That woman has to have the research training and everything else. So I can't even begin to tell you all that needs to happen in terms of what we need to do greatly with our industry colleagues. Women is One has really tried to push this narrative forward by working closely with professional societies, by teaching and also training women in research in our CLIMB programs, as well as difficult procedures. And all of this is funded by our industry colleagues, such as Boston Scientific. And we thank you for that, because it would never be possible without your support.
Thank you, Roxana. That's so important. I know there is still a lot to do, but we will get there together. One last question. If you could give a single piece of advice to women interventional cardiologists, what would be today?
Just be yourself. Express your qualities, your talent. Make the other understanding that you are ambitious and motivated. And I'm sure you will find a lot of friends and partners along the way willing to support you in the journey.
Thanks. Roxana?
I would tell the woman, the world is such a better place today than it was 20 years ago for women in interventional cardiology. Number one, listen to your heart. Be passionate and work hard, because nothing comes without, you have to put the work into it. And know that your mentors, men and women, but especially multitudes of mentors, will help you move along the way. And never be afraid to take that leap of faith of something that you're uncomfortable with, and that really gives you the opportunity to climb up. And I think I just would never, ever give up. Never give up on your dreams.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Emanuele. Thank you, Roxana, for this amazing discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.